The world is full of people who want to play it safe. People who have tremendous potential but never use it. Somewhere deep inside them, they know they could do more in life, be more, and have more, if only they were willing to take a few risks. George Foreman. Previously on Hopefuls.
I'm going to be going to Charleston, West Virginia, knowing that I'm going to be competing against the best from all over.
This is my first time going on a plane.
I get a call from Precious's mom saying, "We're in the hospital, coach." She says, "Terry's got a hairline fracture."
We're coming back in 8 days.
It's gonna be a game time decision if he can fight. I'll start with the plane trip. It was crazy, and then I had to take my daughter, and we caught the red eye, so we're traveling through the night. We had a setup of 2 layovers. I got 4 kids, sleepy and tired, but to watch Terry be glued to the windows like Spider-Man, just excited, it was worth it, you know.
3 boxers in tow, plus 1 daughter. Zamira, who lives in Georgia with her mother and spends summers with Ian.
Okay, Zamira, my little angel, hates boxing, just grew up in it. And there's just times where I have to take her. So she comes to West Virginia, and it just happens to be on her birthday.
Today is my birthday.
It is actually her birthday today, and
we have to watch the fight.
You can tell this is not her favorite thing to do, but we're gonna do something special right after.
Yeah, which is cake and ice cream and going swimming.
All right, we are in the arena. It's game time.
And it's gonna
What
be
time
so
is it?
boring.
Zamira may not be interested in the tournament, but she's definitely interested in waking up the exhausted boys. It's day 1 in West Virginia, and they have no time to waste.
Here we have a tired Terry Washington, and this is Lolo. Boy, they look like they're ready to go.
Wake up, wake up.
With only 2 days till the tournament, Ian must prepare the boys for what's to come, especially Terry, whose ankle is touch and go.
We are getting ready to take Terrible Terry's ankle up. We have ankle problems, but we still winning national titles, right?
Terrible Terry's tired.
Terrible Terry better get his behind up. Let me turn this camera off and tell you a few things. Come on, man. Let's go. I gotta tape your ankle up. You're still nursing the injury, but the show must go on.
Pulling off from the hotel. Get a look. You're at the Civic Center. We've arrived. The Civic Center.
In order to succeed greatly, you have to be prepared to fail greatly. If you can't do both of them, you've got a problem. Mike Tyson.
All right, we're back in the hotel after day 2 of the Junior Olympic Nationals. Lolo gets his first chance to step in the ring. Tell me about your experience.
It was fun.
He got the win and moves on to the last round.
What a phenomenal experience West Virginia was. Getting out there, 1,500 athletes, and to actually have 2 kids emerge as junior Olympic champions, national champions, it was phenomenal.
good morning. This is championship day. What's gonna happen today, bro?
I will win.
Yeah, how are we gonna win?
I follow the game plan.
Amen, amen.
Unfortunately, Terry had hurt his foot like a week before he actually was going to fight. But he still went to go perform and fight. And it was a last-minute decision that Ian had to make the choice. And Terry's mom allowed Ian to make that choice because, you know, his mom didn't want to stop Terry from going and pursuing the opportunity of potentially grabbing that national title.
Terrible Terry.
Right here. He's relaxed.
Faced the #1 dude in the country, and we have nursed him back to health. He was about 85%. One judge gave it to him. 3 judges had him losing by 1 point. That's as close as this fight was. Tell me about your experience, Terry. Terry's not very happy. You know, I'm proud of him. He did well, and we will be back. By the time this kid is 16 and 17, we're gonna be talking Olympic team.
He beats the kid from Jersey, easy, and then we just got a bad bracket, I thought, because I thought his foot was gonna get better day by day. We get the #1 kid the second day, and I was like, ugh. But to watch Terry fight like this kid stole something from his family, you know, he wouldn't be denied. There was just some foot movement things that he usually does he couldn't do, but I was proud of him.
Well, he actually wanted to quit. And me and his father was like, no. You know, you're gonna keep going, don't give up. You know, things happen.
When our boys lose, it is devastating to Ian and even more devastating to our boys. So Terry, who is accustomed to winning, recently lost. And the whole organization felt it. Not because the loss mattered so much to us, but it mattered because it mattered to Terry. And I personally did not want Terry to believe that the champion spirit still didn't lie in him.
Terry has been a winner since he started this, and you could tell that he wasn't okay with being the and Terry, the 2 champs and Terry, you know.
You know, if Terry had his footwork, he would have really completed that out the way with no problems.
We came back with national champions, but I'm more proud of that performance.
Terry battled with a fractured foot. So please give him a big San Bernardino City Unified. Kenny Labatz from Rialto, please come forward.
But he worked hard, and he keeps working hard today.
While Ian ensures his athletes are supported on the road, back at home, his wife does the same for him.
You know, when he came home, he was glad to be home. I could tell that, you know, it was a really long trip, you know, for him. He was happy but disappointed. A little bit, you know, of both. But, you know, he just believes so much in his boys that he works with that it's like, you know what, you know, some win, some lose, but we're coming back. And for him, in his mind, he's like, one day, you know, I'm gonna have a champion, a world champion.
Our team here is like a little family. We share a lot of moments together. I love all these kids. The love that I have for my family, it's unconditional. I'm learning through my wife, because expressing one's love is more than just saying it, you have to show somebody through your actions, and it's got to be heartfelt.
In addition to the 3 boys, Ian has 2 children at home. His wife's 14-year-old son, Gabriel, and her 4-year-old adopted niece, Olivia Bella.
Ian and I have been attending the same church for many years and did not know each other. Our pastor had a guest speaker that happened to be from Project Fighting Chance.
I was actually talking at the time, and I just remember continuing to look over at her. I was kind of struck by how beautiful she was.
And they just began to speak about, the devastation in San Bernardino and not being a bystander, getting in there and doing something. So I did agree to sign up to be a volunteer. That's how the whole dating situation began, and it's been an interesting ride.
My home life is good. I wish I knew what I know now about raising children. I feel like I'm a better parent today.
He was so committed and dedicated to Project Fighting Chance that, from my perspective, it seemed like that was his treasure.
As he sees himself differently, it puts him in a position where his family has to see him differently. And that's a good thing. I think it's causing his family to begin to understand that people do grow and change.
He has to understand you have to be careful where you invest and how you invest your time. And you can't expect a good, return on your investment from your kids when they become adults if you didn't invest in them when they were children. Whereas I think the boxing stuff comes much more naturally to him. From my perspective, it looks like he's more comfortable in that capacity in dealing with the kids and some of the older men, the adult kids that he works with. And so with the kids, he's got to work at being a dad.
My wife has really helped me realize that I had to take a long, hard look at myself and how I acted. I don't think I was the best parent in the world. I think in a lot of ways I became my father. And I think it had a negative effect on how I raised my kids. I did share that I loved them, so I wasn't totally emotionless. But there was just more I could have done.
Fatherhood doesn't come easy, and Ian learned that from his dad.
My dad was an Air Force tech sergeant. My early life, I was all over the world. We was in Spain, England, Germany, Turkey. My mom actually is from Liverpool, England, the home of the Beatles. I was an interracial child. My dad was a very overbearing, being a military sergeant. One could never please. He was one of those people, one could never please him. Never heard the words, "I love you." These are all the things as a young man you want to hear. And I think I had a void inside of me. But when I got to San Bernardino, my life took a nosedive. I became intrigued with the things in the streets. Became addicted to several drugs. Began doing a lot of different things. Actually was arrested for armed robbery when I was 14 and a half. And that began my downward spiral. I remember going back and forth to juvenile institutions, juvenile hall. I remember one day, a judge just told me I was just a menace.
And growing up in San Bernardino, an environment that Ian grew up in, kids and teenagers are really invisible. And there are several stereotypes that are developed growing up in San Bernardino. And if you're not careful, you begin to believe those things about yourself.
He told me, about, some difficulties growing up, getting into trouble, having some anger management issues and displaying it and acting it out in destructive ways that, put him into a lot of different bad situations. He just kind of, painted a picture that, he was a knucklehead.
I don't think he wanted to be a knucklehead. I think he wanted to be a man. I don't think he wanted to make his dad proud, as most kids. I think that's why he put so much into his athletes.
Well, boxing helped me in my life. I remember as a kid in San Bernardino, a police officer pulled me out of a scuffle one time, and he made me get into the car after a while, but I didn't want to immediately. But he coaxed me in, and he took me to the boys' club and introduced me to a boxing coach, and told me that this was a program, and I started doing it. And I remember feeling better when I left the gym. And again, I didn't realize the anger I was harnessing at the time, but it was real therapeutic for me. But I still had one foot in the street.
I think when you talk about a man who struggles, that can't figure himself out, and he can't get out of the paper bag, wants to make his dad proud. I don't know if he's done it to this day.
My mother was the polar opposite of my father, Mary Franklin. She passed away in 2007, and that was a devastating time in my life. But my mother was the epitome of unconditional love, and I think she offset. If it wasn't for her, I don't know what would have happened to me. Everybody loved her. She was just a very spiritual, loving person, always prayed for everybody. The one thing that I seen up close was the harsh treatment she got from my father, and that had an effect on me. He was very harsh toward her, and she was just wanting some of the love that she gave.
Love caused Ian to experience an epiphany that would forever change his life.
Got into several altercations. The one that made me do a year was had an altercation with a guy in a project, and in that particular year, the mother of my first son gave birth. I had been in there 7 months before I could see him. I think he was born 3 months prior, but I was always in a lot of problems and wasn't allowed visits. I remember her coming in, and here's this child. This is my first child, and he's a boy. And I remember looking at his eyes and looking at these eyes that depend on me and are going to need me to be a little different. And I remember her saying things to me. I wasn't paying any attention to it. I'm looking at my son, and we were playing. And that whole hour, I'm thinking, I got a kid, you know. So I remember leaving that moment saying, I can't be the same right now. And that was the first moment I had a desire to do something different and be positive.
So you can determine that you want to stay on the side of the cross where you're crucified, or you want to go on the other side where you're resurrected. And he decided to resurrect himself and to resurrect that mission that God has given him through boxing. Right, boxing? So that one thing he was good at that gave him life before he even really understood what it was giving him, he bet on that and he won.
He made an appointment with me to talk to me about his program. One of the things he shared with me was his vision for really helping young boys get out of gang violence, get out of the debilitating circumstances that they were in. He recalled in his own life that when he got involved in the boxing program, it gave him hope. It gave him aspiration. It gave him a vision about what could be and what could accomplish. And so for us, and like I said, for me, I think that was a defining moment for us as a church to get behind one of our own members and support him and help that vision that he has become a reality.
The boys must continuously compete to be ready for their national tournament in Utah. Today, they're in Arizona, and Ian is largely focused on new changes for his athletes.
I came out here for a tune-up, just to make sure they're all on their game come Salt Lake, you know. Some of them are going into older divisions. Some of them are moving up in weight. Lolo's going into the 15-year-old division from the 13, 14s, and he's only 14.
It makes me ready more to gain those 4 pounds, just to fight 4 pounds up.
Terry, who has come to support the boys, has healed greatly since his last fight in West Virginia.
Now he's 100%, so I'm hoping, and so is he, that we get this kid again in Salt Lake. He'll be there. It's just, you know, you always got to wonder in the bracket, and hey, maybe somebody beats him. You never know, but I think it'll be a little different this time.
He was a good fighter, didn't show sportsmanship, and we'll just see him next time. I'm following some famous, really good boxers because they're training hard, and like, I'm following them because I want to be there when I get older. As you can see, I'm following Mayweather when he's training with a bag. I know that he's a very talented fighter. He just loves to shoot that right hand.
Hard work and dedication.
Hard work and dedication.
Undefeated.
Yeah, and undefeated.
As far as Terry, he's only got 2 losses. You got like 25, 6 wins, something like that. So initially, you know, and I'm glad you don't like losing.
I mean, you're gonna have some wins and losses in amateur, but it's really getting you ready for pros.
This is a marathon, not a sprint. And we're looking for big things in the future out of all of them. Not only the Olympics, maybe a professional career, you know, because that's what they all say they want. So we might be embarking on something that ends up great.
I'm ready to take the W. I'm ready. We've been practicing. I've been practicing on everything, so I know I'm going to take the W.
3, tighten up. Arizona was the most hectic tournament. Shadowbox, man. Keep moving around because it's cool in here. This was chaos at its finest. We didn't even know who was fighting when, and we would get there in the morning, and you was like a herd of cattle smushed outside. I almost wanted to go home. You know, I've never seen anything like it. Double that jab up. Once you get your punches, I want you to step around. Don't just stay there, all right? Kenny was, I think, fighting a little bit heavy. Go forward. After your punch, I need you to move your head, and step around, okay? You know, he should have been down to 70. He put up a good effort, you know, but he came up a little short. And again, I think we just wasn't as prepared as we was from West Virginia.
Boxing out of blue corner from Fight Charles Harris.
Keep that jab going. Keep aware that he's coming around the corner with something. Get up under things, all right?
In the corner,
Lolo completely dismantles this kid day one, and so he was supposed to be in a bracket for the finals on day 2. We get there for day 2, and they're saying, no, he's just gonna be the champion. But we seen 2 other people in his weight division fighting each other, and I was like, what is going on? They just didn't want him to fight no more. It was a little bit hard, and I was stressing a little bit, and I just didn't understand how the tournament was being run. But these kids are so talented. You always have to say, you know, when you get used to winning, you know, nothing else is acceptable sometimes. But you have to realize in a 3-round, minute-round fight, you're gonna lose some fights. And so, you know, I come back with mixed emotions. We got some work to do before Salt Lake.
This Waffle House hat. Looks like he's running a hot dog stand.
Can you get your hot dogs?
Hot dogs and cotton candy.
I'm selling hot dogs for $1.50 in cotton candy.
On the next Hopefuls.
Day 1, U.S. Nationals. This is your moment, man. This is it. One more round. Keep the 1.
I think Ian deals with the losses at a hard level.
Having a tough one today.
This socioeconomic area really needs something like this.
Tupac Shakur said a rose can grow out of concrete. We just want to help some kids become roses.